Come and make some ceramic ghosties with me. The first step is making a nice strong pinch pot. So you're going to need to start with a nice sphere. You either roll it on the table or in your hands very gently until you have a very smooth surface. Then you're going to take a thumbs up and give your pinch pot a little belly button, just like that. There you go. Beautiful. And then with that same thumb, you're just going to slowly and gently dig a little bit inside the ball of clay. Just kind of twist it back and forth, checking all the while to make sure that you don't have any cracks forming. And if you do this little by little, you shouldn't get very many cracks at all. If you do get cracks, you can smooth it out. And you're gonna go almost to the bottom of the ball, just deep, just like that. What you're not gonna want to do is you don't wanna get some crab claws and pinch the top. What you're going to do is you're gonna take your thumb, you're gonna put it all the way at the bottom, and you're going to hook your thumb, just like that. Hook your thumb. Excellent. So that is the way that we're going to move the clay. You're gonna take your thumb, stick it in there, gently hook your thumb so you're moving the clay all the way from the bottom of the ball, and you're gently moving it around to make the walls of your pinch pot. If you want to gently hold it with your long fingers like that, you're welcome to do that, but you're not pinching like crab claws, okay? If your hands start to get tired, like mine did in this video, you can turn it around and switch hands, but you're really utilizing your thumb to hook it and to move the clay, and the other hand is just really a support. If you see little cracks, just dip the very tip of your finger in some water to smooth them out. You definitely don't want to add too much water because then you'll have a big pile of mud. So I'm just slowly moving it around, turning the pinch pot gently, pushing my thumb in the middle, and what you're going to see is happening is the center part is getting wider and wider until you have something that you can really work with. And you want to make sure that the sides are pretty even and that no wall is thicker than your thumb or thinner than your pinky. All right, looks pretty good. We're ready to move on to step 2. All right, now your pinch pot is no longer a pinch pot. We're gonna turn it upside down and adjust the shape just a little bit to make it more ghosty. So I am squeezing this so gently, just to make the shape a little bit more round, a tiny bit at a time, until I am happy with it. The next step is you can use a pencil for this if you want, but you're gonna make the folds in the fabric to make it look more like a ghost. So I'm gonna make like an elongated triangle. I'm gonna dig it out a tiny bit, just like that. And then I'm gonna dip my finger in water and rub it to make it a really gentle fold, just like that. So a little bit pointy at the top, a little bit wider at the bottom, and I am going to repeat that all around not a pinch pot, all around the ghost. So that elongated long triangle, rub it with some water, and do it all over again. And remember, you can use a pencil, you can use a clay tool, really anything will work. You can even use your finger, but it might be a little bit tricky to get to the pointy bit. And when you are all done, it will look something like this, where we've got some texture to make it look like a real ghost. Moving on to step 3, we are going to go ahead and make the eyes. I always like to just poke very shallow holes just to get an idea of if you're happy with the placement. That way you can rub it out if you don't like it. I am happy with the placement there. So I'm just going to gently take my needle tool, make the holes a little bit wider, a little bit at a time, just like that. I'm gonna smooth out any chunks that are popping up there. And then I'm gonna take a wider needle tool. Again, pencil will work great for this one. Make it a little bit wider, rub out the extra chunks, and you are all set. You have to remember that clay does shrink in the kiln, so once you're happy with it, make them a little bit bigger than you think they should be. Moving on to step 4, now we are going to make the hole in the sheet, and you're going to start by rolling a very thin, nice long coil, and you're going to test it out because you're going to make an oval around the eyes just like this. So test it out, cut it off when you see that it's the size that you want. And now we're going to scratch to attach. I really like to use a toothbrush for this. You want to scratch the surface of the ghost where you're going to stick it, scratch the surface of the coil, and then we're going to use some slip, which I like to call clay glue, to act as an adhesive there. Put some clay glue on there, and then you're going to wrap the coil around, gently pressing, so that we get the full scratch, attach, squish. And you do have to be careful. I'm actually being quite gentle with my squish because I don't want to destroy that whole coil. Now, the next part is rubbing one side of the coil to make it look like it is part of the sheet. So I'm leaving the side closest to the eyes alone, and I'm just rubbing down that outside. And I'm doing it with a combination with my finger and a clay tool. Your finger will work quite fine for this. I'm pressing down the outside of the clay and then rubbing it with my finger to really make sure that it looks nice and smooth, because eventually it's going to look like it is part of the sheet. Check that out. Isn't that adorable? Looking great. Let's move on to the next step. Now we're going to move on to the most fun part of adding the details. So I'm consulting my planning sheet to see what fun details I'm going to add. In this case, it's the wings, the antenna, and the little bumblebee. So to make the wings, I am going to take my extra clay, lift it, flip it, roll it, lift it, flip it, roll it. Make sure that the thickness, it's about as thick as my pinky, so we are good. And now I'm going to cut it in half because I want the wings to be the exact same size. So I do a little trick for this. First, I trace and cut one wing, and then I use that wing as a tracer on the other side of the clay, so I can make the second one that is the exact same size. Just like that, cut it out. The next step is to really take a little bit of water and smooth out all of those edges so that they're not sharp when they come out of the kiln. Once again, I am going to do some scratch to attach. So I'm going to scratch one side with the toothbrush, scratch the other side, add some of my clay glue or slip, and that's the scratch, that's the attach, and the last step is to squish. Just squish in any air pockets that might be hiding underneath there. The next part is to add the rest of the details, and I'm just going to do that in fast motion so you can see my process. And there you have it. My cute little bumblebee ghosty is all finished. I've scratched, attached, squished, and I am just rubbing the outside to make sure it's nice and smooth. Looks just like the picture.